A narcissistic personality disorder is a disease that affects approximately 1% of the population, with a higher incidence of males than females. It is characterized by excessive arrogance, lack of empathy, and a great need for admiration. The main marker of a narcissistic personality is grandiosity. They are interested in power, prestige, and vanity, and believe that they deserve special treatment. NPD should not be confused with a person with high self-esteem. A person with high self-esteem can be humble, while a narcissist cannot. They are selfish, overconfident, and ignore the feelings and needs of others. Also, the disorder harms a person's life. In general, one may be dissatisfied with one's life and be disappointed when others do not admire it and are not given the special attitude or care it needs. All vital areas are affected, but one cannot realize that their behavior negatively affects their relationships. People do not feel comfortable with a narcissistic person, and they will feel dissatisfied with their work, social life, etc. Narcissistic personality disorder causes. There is no definite cause for narcissistic personality disorder, but researchers agree that environmental and genetic factors play a role in the development of the disease. Some of the genetic factors show that people with a narcissistic personality have less grey matter in the left insula, the part of the brain associated with empathy, emotional regulation, compassion, and cognitive functioning. The healthy development of man shapes many of the narcissistic personality traits. Researchers believe that the onset of the disorder can occur when there is a conflict in interpersonal development. Some examples of contextual factors that may change the developmental stage of normal include learn manipulative behavior from parents or friends, to be overly praised for appropriate behavior and overly criticized for inappropriate behavior. You suffer from childhood abuse, incompatible parental care, being very pampered by parents, friends, family, to be too delightful without realistic feedback, receive many compliments from parents or others about their appearance or abilities. Narcissistic personality disorder, treatment. Psychotherapy. Psychotherapy is one of the keys to approaching the treatment of narcissistic personality. It is usually used to help a person connect with other people more adaptively and gain a better understanding of their own and others' emotions. If a person has a narcissistic personality, you may not have heard of the diagnosis. Studies show that they usually do not receive treatment, and if they receive it, progress is slow because it is based on personality traits that have formed over the years. Therefore, it takes years of psychotherapy to make changes. The changes aim to take responsibility for their actions and to learn ways to connect more appropriately. It includes: you are accepting and maintaining relationships with classmates and family. They tolerate criticism and failure. Understand and regulate feelings. Minimize the desire to achieve unrealistic goals. Initially, group therapy was thought to be inappropriate because group therapy requires empathy, patience, and the ability to relate to and connect with others, something in which a person with narcissistic personality disorder presents with deficits. However, studies show that long-term group therapy can benefit them by providing a safe context where they can talk about their boundaries, receive and give feedback, and raise awareness of themselves and their problems. Of cognitive behavioral therapy in particular, the scheme-focused treatment produces excellent results. It focuses on restoring narcissistic schemas and strategies to deal with them while confronting narcissistic cognitive styles. Criteria for narcissistic personality disorder. The exaggerated notion of personal importance is not based on reality. Narcissists believe that their priorities, interests, opinions, and beliefs have more value and are more important than anyone else's. Not all narcissists show the world their grandeur. Some appear to be very humble or even shy to the outside world, but this will dominate their coexistence when they are in intimacy. The concern with fantasies of success, wealth, power, beauty, and love above normal. Narcissists often have a fantasy-filled life and are rarely satisfied with the ordinary, however satisfying or beautiful it may be. This preoccupation with fantasy prevents the narcissistic personality from leading a real and stable life. They feed desires for wealth, fame, power, or status obsessively. The belief that you are a special and unique individual can only be committed to or understood by exceptional people. This idea is an integral part of a survival mechanism that helps them cope with the world. They often define themselves by what they consider their unique qualities and inform us of those qualities as soon as we know them. Feeling of worthiness. Standard rules, regulations, and behavior patterns infuriate narcissists who think they are so unique that they do not have to obey reasonable expectations or respect appropriate limits. They may be equally plagued by hard work, illness, or injury. On the other hand, the rules that are imposed by them on others must always be respected. The tendency to exploit others without feeling guilt or remorse. Depending on the other characteristics of the narcissist's personality, she may induce us to do all his work for her without considering that this behavior is disrespectful. Your sense of worthiness makes these behaviors familiar, preventing them from feeling guilty or remorseful. Lack of significant empathy. The narcissist has very little ability to put himself in someone else's shoes. Your pain, your problems, and your point of view dominate the universe. Perhaps nothing more reflects the narcissist's behavior than the inability to understand and identify with others' experiences. It is extremely true when the person who needs understanding is someone the narcissist is exploring, that is, his current target, loving, working, family, or friend. The tendency to be envious or to imagine oneself the envy of others. The narcissist has difficulty adjusting to a world where other people seem to have more or better things. Narcissists often fail to recognize that they are envious and turn sentiment into contempt. Arrogance. Narcissists often have a snobby attitude towards people they think are not up to their high standard of intelligence, competence, accomplishment, values, morals, or lifestyle. Believing that the other is inferior helps them reinforce and inflate their conviction of superiority. Criticizing and diminishing others makes them feel good about themselves. They are often homophobic, racist, and discriminatory because they think they are superior to a specific group. Characteristics of narcissistic personality disorder. The excessive vision of the self rather than a solid self-confidence reflects an excessive concern for supposed excellence. Active and competitive when looking for status, since their value is measured according to their status. If others do not recognize that status that they think they deserve, they feel intolerable, mistreated, angry, become defensive or depressed. If they are not known as superiors, their belief of inferiority and lack of importance is activated. She is therefore hypersensitive and experiences very intense feelings in response to the criticisms of others. They need, at all costs, the recognition of people whom they consider essential. They do not tolerate discomfort or negative affection. They reject the vital circumstances that require a certain sacrifice and tolerance towards others, such as marriage, and he thinks that he does not have to make concessions and yield to the other. If limits are placed or criticized, they become very unpleasant and defensive. They show a very demanding and insensitive appearance, show little interest in emotionally supporting the other. They are very difficult to influence and are characterized by being great exploiters. When others react to their exploitation and get angry with him, the narcissist thinks that what happens to him is that they are jealous of him. Carefree of the feelings of others, very self-centered. When they have a conversation with others, they can give the feeling of unique personal interest. Although they can be warm in a first interaction, they immediately show arrogance, hurtful comments towards each other, or insensitive actions. They often envy the successes of others and discredit the people they see as competitors. spend a lot of time comparing yourself to others. The worth of others lies in the ability of others to admire him. The narcissist likes people who offer him devotion. He feels very comfortable giving orders because he believes he is the only one who owns the truth. The others seem mediocre compared to him. They are only mere apprentices or aspirants to be like him. In the face of an argument, they can misrepresent the conversations to make others feel guilty. To justify the poor treatment that it gives to others, they look for more or less solvent reasons that excuse their lack of consideration towards others, placing themselves in the best possible situation. Their apparent loquacity facilitates access to others, but those friendships lack the intimacy component. Finally, they are perceived as boring conversationalists. There is an excellent feeling of incapacity, incompetence, and a lack of pleasure in any achievement behind its facade. Everything they do is aimed at sustaining their fragile self-esteem. They take great care of their image and their manners, since they continuously sit in a shop window. You can demand the same from nearby people, influencing them to behave in a model way, and if you don't get it, criticize and ridicule them, thinking that it is for your good. But if the people around them fulfill their wishes, the narcissist can feel their shadow, so he criticizes them in the same way. Since the image is everything, the situations in which it may be exposed to others, or the possible criticism of these, pose a significant threat. For your person to look, they exaggerate their merits and minimize those of others. They dismiss emotions such as sadness or anxiety because they think that feeling something like this is weak. They do not like to talk about their problems or their negative emotions because they fear being seen as fragile. They do not like to feel vulnerable since it is a symptom of inferiority. He prefers to offer an image of imperturbability. They have big, unrealistic dreams of job success, economic, and looking for ideal romantic love. They also have great fantasies of power. They give great importance to material possessions and, in general, in everything that implies recognition by others. They presume to lead a different type of life, and this is how he can be involved in insecure businesses, risky sports, lots of sexual conquests, repeated plastic surgery. Whenever there is the possibility of standing out from others, it will. You experience lasting feelings of boredom, meaninglessness in your lives, worthlessness, emptiness. You feel impoverished from an emotional point of view, and now you crave more profound emotional experiences. It has a sense of corruptible morals and ethics, has changing values and interests, and belittles unusual and conventional values and norms. You can show sexual behavior that includes promiscuity, lack of inhibition, and marital infidelities.